But before we get to that, let's head out to the streets with our Encounter Street team. With so many technological advances in medicine continuing to push traditional boundaries, we asked people what they thought were the most pressing ethical questions in medicine and science today. Let's see how they responded to Encounter's Question of the Month.
I'm a scientist myself, so I actually support a lot of progress and doing research because it can bring a lot of good to human society, and it has done that already. But you have to have boundaries. You have to have a bioethics. Since the beginning, we have known that this is such an important thing, like the Hippocratic Oath, right? So the fact that we have taken that away is also a mistake. I think the most pressing one is about stem cell research, which can actually be done not coming from the embryo cells exactly. It can actually come from tissue, and there's some research being developed on that. So you avoid the whole problem of killing a human embryo, and you can still do a lot of research and you can improve all of these things. So I think that's a great start, but we should definitely have clear boundaries in bioethics.
Things should be done naturally rather than forcing it and playing God with things like that, especially with our food. People play God with that, and I don't think it's something that we should do because it's harming people on a daily basis. So that's just my point of view on it.
Cloning's pretty scary, I would say. I don't know how close on the horizon it is, but I think when we start thinking that we can that we're the engineers of God's creation, then it's a pretty dangerous idea.
That's why I love the Catholic Church so much, because we're very firm on some of these stances, but we understand that as humans, it can't always be just totally black and white. But the Catholic Church definitely has a hatred of gray at the same time. Whenever I think of all these things, I immediately just think of abortion, and it's not a religious issue, it's a scientific issue. And a lot of these issues, as soon as we go back to what it means to really dignify the human being in a scientific standpoint, then we come to the answer. And a lot of people stray away from that, talking about these things and trying to convince other people what you believe and why you believe it's right, and trying to bring God into these situations. Sometimes these people are extremely atheists. They don't even want to acknowledge that.
This idea, I would say, that you need to use fertilized eggs and then destroy them or try to do research on them is pretty much false, considering you can use pluripotent cells to make any cell. So if you're talking about trying to, repair, burn victims or whatever, you can use that.
I think what the controversies will always be about the same basic thing, which is obeying natural law. When we try to let medicine dictate how natural law works and we go against the will of God, then we're not really paying attention to how natural law works. So looking at what stem cells can do may not necessarily be bad, but abusing life from conception in order to harvest them is absolutely not a good thing to do.
And of course, we'd like to hear from you. If you want to respond or make a comment about our Question of the Month, you can go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/EncounterCTV.